We have traveled all over Kenya to find hard-working farmers.
We want to celebrate them while giving them the help they need to improve their farms,
Get better yields.
and increase profits.
We'll see how farmers from across the region can benefit from our expert advice.
And learn from each other in so many ways.
Join us on these journeys and share in the farmers' experiences as they shape up their shambas.
Welcome to the Shamba Shape Up Safari. Today we are in Machakos and we are going to meet Gregory and Teresia Mutua.
Now, on every farm we visit, we always advise farmers to do a soil test. It is the first step to increasing yield. Isn't that right, Caro?
Yes, it is, Tony. But on this farm, we are also going to be doing a water test. This can be just as important, especially if you're using underground water from a borehole.
Okay, I can't wait to see the results. Let's meet our farmers.
This is Gregory. He's married to Teresia and they live with their daughter Caroline and their granddaughters Teresia and Jennifer. The rest have left home.
Their farm covers 36 acres. Although rain can be unpredictable in this region, they still manage to grow a lot of crops thanks to their underground water supply.
These include mangoes, maize, oranges and tomatoes.
And they have cows too.
So, let's go and meet them and see how we can help.
I'm very happy to be here.
Yes.
It's a beautiful Shamba.
Thank you.
Yes, now that we are here, Mr.
Yes,
Ngao,
please.
what challenges are you facing in your Shamba?
We have challenged with the water.
What's wrong with the water?
We have piped water here, but it's not tested. It's from a borehole. We would like it to be tested so that we know it's a healthy position.
Kara and Teresia,
Yeah.
women power.
Exactly.
Tell me, what challenges are you facing?
The time we are cooking, we normally use charcoal, which is a bit expensive. So if we can get something which is a bit cheaper, we can appreciate.
What are the challenges, Mr. Ngao?
Since we are farmers, we have challenges with diseases in our mangoes, especially in the mangoes. If we can have anything, treatment that will increase our yield and will increase our money.
A bumper harvest.
Bumper harvest, that's the thing.
We'll work on that, Caro. And Caro, who have we come with?
We did not come alone. We came with experts who are
Yeah.
going to give you advice and make sure that your shamba and your home is fully shaped up.
Wow, Caro.
Yes, Tony.
Mr. Ngao is an excellent farmer.
Yes, but we've still got some areas that we can help him with.
We are going to find out how water quality can affect yield.
And save money on fuel for cooking. First, I'm going to find out how conservation agriculture can not only save you money, but also increase your yield.
And I'm going to check about pests and diseases in the mangoes.
See you later.
Okay.
Gregory has intercropped 2 acres of maize with pigeon peas. At harvest, he gets 20 bags of maize and 5 bags of pigeon peas. But we think he can do even better if he follows the principles of conservation agriculture. So, we've invited Pastor Daniel from Simit to tell us all about it.
There are 3 principles of conservation agriculture.
Yeah.
We have crop associations,
Yes.
and in crop associations we talk about crop rotation and intercropping. The difference between crop rotation and intercropping is this, that in crop rotation you plant a single stand, for example, planting maize in a plot. And then after you have cleared for the first season you've done maize, you bring in another different crop, say a legume, and then after that you rotate with another crop. You can actually bring a root like potato.
Rotating crops is a great way of reducing pests and diseases.
There are some specific pests that eat or spoil some specific crops. For example, stalk borers only spoil maize. And so, if you plant maize, and then the following season you plant maize again on the same plot, it means the remains of those pests are already there in the soil and will affect the following crop. And so if you change maize with a legume like beans, it means that those pests that affect maize only will have died.
Okay.
And so when you plant now maize again, you are starting afresh and you'll not be having problems of pests.
Okay.
The other aspect of crop association is intercropping. This is where you plant a grain and a legume on the same plot at the same time on different rows.
Okay.
Legumes have the ability to get nitrogen from atmosphere and fix it in the soil.
Okay.
And maize requires a lot of nitrogen.
If you intercrop a seed like maize with a legume like cowpeas, you'll not only get increased yield and avoid pests and disease, long term, you can make savings in the amount of fertilizer you have to use. So, more crops and saving money can't be that bad. The next principle of conservation agriculture is minimum tillage.
And in minimum tillage, we are talking about reducing the amount of turning of the soil. You don't dig the soil too much. For example, for you are using ox plow.
Yes.
It will turn the soil too much, and that is why you're having the problem of hard pan. And there are different ways of doing minimum tillage. For you who is already using ox plow, the best thing is to do reaping. A reaper is like a plow, but just a pointed hook that just cuts the soil where you are going to place your seed, which is very important in that you don't disturb the whole part of land. You only disturb a little the place where you are going to plant your seed.
This looks like a great idea. Now, the third principle of conservation agriculture is soil cover.
The amount of water that falls in rain needs to be conserved so that it can be used by the plant. How do you conserve that soil? By ensuring that when the water has fallen, the land is covered well so that there is no direct sun rays that are hitting the soil and evaporating the same moisture that you need for your crops. So you cover the soil by mulching, or you plant cover crops. They also continuously help in increasing the fertility of the soil.
I leave this place untouched.
Non-touched. Yes.
And when the rains come, the weeds will grow here. What shall I do with that?
You also need to think about how to manage weeds.
Yes.
There are instances where it is hard to grow a good cover, and so that is where we encourage people to use either light weeding or use herbicides.
So, when we follow good agricultural practices by following conservation agriculture, that means rotate the three main crop groups. For example, maize, followed by cowpeas and then potatoes. Or intercrop, for example, maize alongside cowpeas. Avoid plowing with an ox plow. Use a reaper to protect soil structure and cover the soil to hold water and reduce weeds. Follow these principles and get a great harvest.
My first expert is Mweni from Osho. Gregory is an expert mango farmer. So, I wanted to see if we could share some of his secrets with our farmers watching at home. There are three main problems everyone should watch out for. Mr. Ngao, well done.
Thank you.
How long have you been planting mangoes?
For about 20 years now.
20 years?
Yes.
And how has results been?
It's doing wonderful. Giving me income.
And you love mangoes?
I love mangoes. Yes.
Mr. Mweni,
Yes, please.
tell us, what challenges do farmers go through?
Generally, when you plant mangoes, we've got majorly three problems. To start with, immediately mangoes start budding. We call it the budding stage. The flowers start just coming out. The first problem, which many farmers lose most of their fruits, is the issue of powdery mildew.
Aha.
Powdery mildew, it's a fungal disease which majorly affects mangoes, and it affects from budding stage, flowering, and immediately the fruit starts growing.
What are the symptoms?
Immediately you get to the farm and find that the buds are having some whitish cover. That means that's powdery mildew, and it may even give almost 80 to 90% abortion.
What solution is there for powdery mildew?
You cannot use mechanical method to control powdery mildew. You've got directly to get into chemicals, or what we call fungicides. So you've got to get a fungicide which is good to prevent and control.
And you have it?
Yes, we have it. Control is a fungicide which prevents and controls the powdery mildew from the farm. it gets into the system of the plant, so that if we have some powder mildew from the neighbors or from the other plants, when it gets to the plant, it's done away with. So this one is both preventive and curative.
How often should a farmer use this?
Farmers should have to spray mango plants after every 2 weeks. We say bi-weekly.
Mr. Ngao, did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Did you use the
I used the same procedure. Yeah.
Wow.
Apart from the powdery mildew, we've got another very major problem. This is the mango seed weevil. This is generally not seen by farmers because it gets into the seed of the fruit at budding stage, or immediately the fruit starts forming. And now to this, farmers must make sure that they spray a preventive spray, not to allow the mango seed weevil to get into this. Why? Most of the exporters, when they get to the farms, they'll have to use a knife, then dissect the mango. Immediately they find the mango seed weevil at the seed, they will just not buy. So farmers, those who intend to just sell their mangoes for export, they've got to make sure that they do the preventive spray, not to allow the mango seed weevil to get into their mangoes.
Mr. Ngao, have
Yes,
you noticed the seed weevil in your mangoes?
For a farmer like myself, I don't wait to see the mango seed weevil. I spray systematically. Because if I wait to see the weevil, the damage will not be done.
So the moment you see seed weevil, you know
You are done.
damage is done.
Yes.
How do you prevent it?
Betafos is a product which is very good when it comes to controlling the mango seed weevil. It has two active ingredients in it. One, immediately you just spray into the farm. Any of the crawling or flying insect, once it is just it is knocked down. So when you use Betafos, you just do away with mango seed weevil and any other insect which may affect mango plants into the farm.
How often should a farmer use it?
Just like the powdery mildew, you've got to spray an insecticide after every 14 days.
So what other diseases there?
Most farmers do not feed their mangoes, and immediately you don't feed the mangoes, they will not give you any
Who
produce.
feeds on who? The farmer feeds on the mango?
The
mango
farmer
feeds.
feeds the mango. Easy grow flower and fruit. It has potassium, which is very good for color, shape, and taste of any fruit, and especially the mangoes. You use only 40 grams in 20 liters.
You can combine the
You can
three of them
combine in one
pump?
knapsack.
Yes, we say they are compatible.
Yeah.
When just put into 120 liters, then you spray. You are done. You've given a full solution to your mangoes.
Wow. So, for healthy mangoes, spray the mango leaves every 14 days. You can mix the three products in the same knapsack. 10 grams of control with 20 milliliters of Betafos and 40 grams of Easy Grow. So, we've learned how you can get a good mango harvest.
And how conservation agriculture can not only save you money, but also improve on your yield. But on this farm, Ngao is the real expert.
That's right, and that's why we asked him to share with us his top tip in farming.
I would like to share with other farmers the concept of this kind of toilet. It is called Ecosan toilet. It is a smell-free kind of a toilet. The urine and the feces go separate. The urine is taken to the Shamba, to the farm as a fertilizer, and the human excreta is also taken to the farm as fertilizer. The main idea was to manufacture fertilizers. I think we, human beings, are moving factories to manufacture fertilizers.
Wow, amazing, Carol.
Really?
Did you know, Carol, that you are working in manufacturing?
Oh my goodness.
That you've got a lot of biogas inside
Here we go
you,
again. Yes, Tony.
That you can be used as manure.
I know I'm a very amazing
that
creature.
you can produce huge potatoes
Coming up
by yourself.
after the break.
Why water quality is so important.
And saving money on cooking fuel.
That you can produce huge cabbages by
Welcome back.
yourself. To Shamba Shepherd.
We are in Machakos and you're visiting Gregory and Teresia Mutua.
We have seen how to avoid pests and diseases in mango tree.
And the benefits of conservation agriculture.
But we also want to find out how water quality impacts crop yield.
And how to save money on fuel for cooking. Well, no time to waste.
Let's get to work. Gregory is not only a farmer, he is the chairman of the local borehole cooperative. If local people want to use water from the borehole, they can purchase tokens from the kiosk and fill up their tanks. The money raised goes towards the maintenance of the generator that pumps the water out of the ground. But some of the crops fed by the borehole water have been wilting and showing signs of stress. We need to find out what's wrong. So, I've come to collect Gregory and take him to meet a farmer who had a similar problem. And after advice from an expert from crop nuts, he is now doing really well. And this is the farmer Victor talking to our expert from crop nuts, Moses. And this is a tower that houses the machinery for the farmer's borehole. Wow, it's huge! When Victor had the water from his borehole tested, he was told it was very high in sulfates. This increased soil salinity. However, with advice from crop nuts, his crops are now doing really well. So, let's see if Victor and Moses can help Gregory.
Victor, why did you decide to have your water tested?
I used to plant skooma, that is the kales, and French beans. The crop was not making well.
After having your water analyzed, how has the results been?
The crops that I'm currently planting, like tomatoes, they are making well. It's a better yield.
Now, did you plant those crops because of the results of the water analysis?
Yes, I did.
Okay, Moses, can the water analysis tell the farmer what crop he should plant?
The answer is yes. When he says that he was initially growing French beans and potatoes, French beans are very sensitive to saline, sodic, or a combination of those waters.
Yeah.
You grow French beans on water which is like that, or even soil which is high in pH, you are giving yourself some very big challenges ahead. But when you come down to something like tomatoes and kales, sukuma wiki, spinach, those ones have a level of tolerance to salinity.
Victor now grows crops that respond well to his borehole water supply. But could the water be the reason why Gregory's crops are not doing so well? Earlier, Moses tested Gregory's water. Let's see what he's found out.
Moses, what is in the water analysis?
For Mr. Ngao's water, we found the pH is a bit high at 7.57. Sulfur is high. Sulfate is also high. Hardness is also quite high because the required maximum is 60 units. You have 514 units.
Wow.
Quite high, more than 6 times more.
What should a farmer do?
One key consideration is selecting the right crops depending on the analysis of your water. And that is why you find today, if you go along Mombasa Road, there is a lot of sales of tomatoes. It's because most of the people producing in this area, the salts that are in the soil are able to support a good crop of tomatoes.
What is the remedy now to my crops?
One thing very critical for you to do to your soil is to have soil analysis done.
Okay.
Probably once every year or once every 2 years, and you follow the recommendations.
Okay.
Secondly, now let's come to your crop. One of the easiest things to a crop which is already in the farm is to use foliar feed fertilizers.
Okay.
Those ones will eject the required doses of nutrition to your crop directly to the plant through the leaves, and then you will be able to continue getting your yields.
So, if you have borehole water, test it to see what types of crops will grow best. Salt-tolerant crops include spinach, sunflower, and cabbage. Crops to avoid in salty areas include carrots, onions, peas, and beans. But does hard water from a borehole like Gregory's give farmers other problems?
When you are using underground water, there are several things that would affect your pipes, your drip lines, and even particularly the drip holes. Those soluble salts clog the pipe over time, and you might enjoy your crop for only 1 or 2 seasons. After that, you may be required to replace. And replacing 2 acres, for example, of drip irrigation is quite expensive. So it is very advisable to analyze your water so that you can make the right recommendation.
Moses, finally, rainwater or borehole water, which one do you recommend a farmer to use?
without a second thought, we would straight away tell people to harvest water and use rainwater for irrigation. That's very critical going forward.
Thank you. Now remember, have your water and soil tested and follow the recommendations. Do not force crops that do not stand the salinity in your area. Otherwise, you're going to have a very poor harvest.
Time for our final expert. Carol and her mother Teresia are cooking with a jiko that uses a lot of fuel. It's a waste of money, and worse, it gives off dangerous fumes. Fumes from smoke is Africa's biggest killer behind only AIDS and malaria. So, we've asked Paul from EnviroFit to come over and demonstrate how using a new improved jiko like EnviroFit's Super Saver can help. It's so easy to light. In just 5 minutes, it's burning nicely. Let's take it into the kitchen and see what Carol and Teresia think of it. Maybe, Carol, you can tell us about the jiko you've been using.
The jiko we have been using, it uses a lot of charcoal. It's a bit expensive to get it. I think if we get something a bit cheaper, which will use a little charcoal, we'll appreciate.
Mom Teresia,
Yes.
charcoal costs money. So I want to know how much charcoal you use in maybe a day?
We can use the small tin to
2 tins.
Yeah.
That's expensive. With 2 tins of charcoal costing 120 Kenya shillings a day, Teresia's total fuel cost for a month is around 4,000 Kenya shillings. Today we're all about saving, so I want Paul to tell us.
We have the Super Saver. So in terms of savings, we'll be able to cut down that cost by half. So you'll be spending around 2,000 shillings in a month.
2,000 shillings?
And you can do a lot of things with 2,000 shillings. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about the stove is in terms of smoke. With the current jiko that you're using, you'll be able to reduce the smoke by around 80%. So we have less smoke in the kitchen. So we have less watery eyes for kids and for grown-ups. More healthy kids.
You've called it the Super Saver. Whereas I can see there's a different name there. What's the difference?
EnviroFit is the supplier, manufacturer, that's us. Then the jiko itself is called the Super Saver.
So what else can you tell us about the Super Saver?
It has an adjustable vent. So what it means is you can be able to control the amount of air that gets inside. So for longer cooking like githeri, you can be able to put in as little air as possible, which means the makaa burns for longer. Which means it saves you on time as well. So if you want faster cooking like meat, you can open and then more air gets in. Now, it does not just end there. We normally have this challenge of the ashes. So with the EnviroFit Super Saver,
you just remove.
You open and then you have an ashtray that you can be able to, and then you dispose of the ashes. So not necessarily having to remove all the charcoal. So the most interesting thing about the jiko as well is the handles. Most jikos that we have in the market currently have metallic handles. So it's a bit difficult to move it around and everything. So this one has rubber. It has rubber handles, which makes it easier to carry it around. And then another additional fact is that it has rubber feet. That with the Super Saver, because of the rubber feet, it is very stable. Now, on top here, we have the metallic iron. It caters for different pot sizes. So you can be able to use sufuria of any different size. And then this is iron, which means it lasts longer and it's able to retain heat.
And I know Mama Teresia is looking at that and
It's
saying,
very smart.
that is the jiko I want.
And you know that I like clean things.
Yes. Well, it seems Teresia is very keen to get hold of one of these jikos. Stockists can be found by calling EnviroFit's customer care team or by ordering direct with an M-Pesa payment. And the price is very reasonable too.
If I have this jiko, for how long can it serve me?
It can serve you for a period of 5 years.
5 good years.
And then the beauty is that we also have a warranty. So the warranty is in case something happens with the jiko, then it's normally brought to our center. If it's not fixed, then we can be able to issue with a new jiko.
You can give me another one.
Yeah, but with all our experience, it will actually serve you for 5 years without any part getting broken.
Well, that's another successful shape-up. Carol and Teresia are thrilled with the new jiko.
And Gregory is sure to be getting better yields now that his water has been tested.
And he's learned the principles of conservation agriculture.
So we are now off to our next farm. Join us next week on
Shamba Shape Up.